It begins as a phone call and then a meeting, usually late at night. A corporation has a problem and they need Dr. John Clark's help. They need a psychopath buster.
The common misconception with psychopaths is that they are all violent, extreme kind of criminals. The majority of them are living and working around us in jobs, psychologically destroying the people that they work with.
There's a growing realisation psychopaths are thriving in today's workplace. According to the textbooks, every large company has them.
Now, the figures are that around 0.5% of women and 2% of men are psychopaths.
Psychologist John Clark started out profiling criminal psychopaths, but 4 years ago he began to realise there was a much bigger problem.
I was giving a lecture on criminal psychopaths and someone came down after that lecture and said that their boss had the same characteristics as what I just described for a criminal one.
Again, it was all smiles.
Annette knows just what he's talking about. Like most victims we contacted, she would only tell her story anonymously. She was a confident, career-minded public servant when she first met her new boss.
I got a shock when he took me into his office and shut the door. He just exploded. It was sort of like, well, what do we want you for? And then when he went to open the door to let me out again, it was all smiles.
There are 20 characteristics to define a psychopath. Really, the fundamental characteristic or factor is an absolute lack of remorse or guilt for their behaviour, pathological lying, manipulative, callous, egotistical, very kind of self-centred individual, glib and superficial charm.
They're so good at saying the things you want to hear to your face at the same time as they're knifing you in the back.
They steal other people's work, they spread rumours about people, character assassination, a whole range of different strategies they'll use to move up through the company.
They are worrying. I mean, if you strike one, you may not realise it for quite a while until they do some devious act that stabs you in the back and can quite psychologically crush you.
Annette's boss was typical, charming his superiors and acolytes while undermining and isolating his victims.
I wasn't allowed to have a phone. When I was working, you know, my phone calls were monitored, and it was just this constant wearing down of harassment and you know, it was just awful.
By the time she complained, she'd been so discredited behind her back, no one would support her.